It has happened. The Judgment Day has broken up, dude. Holy crap. Super fun way that they did this. You know, we've been teasing the tension between Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio for, I want to say, like, ever since he really joined and Dom started finding his footing as Dirty Dom a couple of years ago, like a year and a half ago, about, I'd say almost 2 years. You know, there's always been this tension between Finn and Dom, as, you know, Finn is generally considered the leader of the group, essentially when Damian did leave and they kicked him out, and especially with Rhea leaving, you know, that power vacuum kind of left, you know, the rest of Judgment Day kind of in this state where, you know, people, you know, Liv and Finn kind of had to take charge. With that and the ascension of Dom's character, you kind of see how he will, kind of similar to Liv, will use anyone or anything to get their way, right? And, you know, I think Finn catching on to the antics of both Liv and Dom, you know, seeing over, you know, really long period of time, the tension boiling between, you know, JD, Finn, and Dom right here, that led to, like, you know, Dom's first IC title reign, which was really excellent in that fatal 4-way match where Dom pinned Finn to do that at Mania. All of that boiling up and building finally to the segment that we had on Raw, which was done so awesomely by everybody, and it was a super simple like segment too. It wasn't something that was like overbooked with a bunch of stuff. Finn addressing how Dom has handled, you know, himself as late, and Finn genuinely, like, finally, you know, calling him out on it and calling him a punk ass bitch, you know, like, maybe your father was right, we were propping you up, you know. And I just love that. I think kicking into Mania season, we're getting this storyline here as well, you know, just because I think it's been a long time in the making, and I think, you know, especially after the Finn kind of program with CM Punk, that kind of reinvigorated Finn Balor's popularity, I think, with the broader general audience too. It seems like there really is a set path now moving forward for Finn to be maybe more of an anti-hero face, or a badass kind of face, kind of similar to maybe what he was initially supposed to be when he came up on the main roster, you know, with the Demon character. Kind of what, even when he was, I think, before with the Judgment Day and during the Vince era, kind of, you know, doing what he was doing as a face, there was like that edge to him that was lost, that I think, you know, through everything that's kind of happened up until now, the fans enjoy kind of like the fusion of the Prince with Finn Balor to make this cool kind of base that we have now, essentially. I think the crowd also ate up everything tonight too, with what happened in the segment, you know. Dom giving Finn a brutal beat down, not before Finn doing his patented Pele kick after Dom shoves him in the face after the punk ass bitch comment, which it was just all masterfully done. Hits him with the Pele kick, he falls down. Raquel and Liv go to scramble to Dom and are trying to figure out, like, oh, what the hell? Everyone's kind of shook. Even JD is kind of taken aback by Finn's actions. But then eventually, Dom just come back up and, like, tries to charge at Finn, and then Finn counters it into a sling blade, and it looks so clean, bro. And then, like, he tries to hit the corner for the shotgun drop kick, but a little bit of minute storytelling there. It seemed like this probably wasn't on purpose, but Liv was literally, like, in the corner where Finn would have, you know, taken off for that shotgun drop kick, but Liv was there kind of staring, and they were kind of staring each other down in, like, a super intense, like, you know, I know you're also behind this type of thing. It was kind of cool. Maybe not intentional because of the placement, but I just thought all of it, like, super worked. Eventually, you had the shock of JD then, as Finn was going for that drop kick in the corner. JD clotheslines him and essentially initiates the kicking out of Finn from the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day, like a pack of hyenas, like they've done to Rhea, like they've done to Damian Priest, like they've done to Edge, the creator. Dom gave a bunch of gnarly 5-star frog splashes, one with a chair, actually, after hitting him in the head with a hammer, which was pretty gnarly too. The hammer that he was asking for during that IC title match with Penta that cost him the title. Just a lot of great stuff here. I mean, like, you know, we have Penta as an IC champion, which I couldn't really forecast that. I think that's excellent though, and I think now looking back at it retroactively, Dom and, you know, I wanted Dom and Finn to feud for the IC title at Mania, but maybe it could be a triple threat, or like Dom and Finn's WrestleMania match could just, you know, be some fun gimmick match that's not necessarily for a title, but still puts both these guys in an elevated position at WrestleMania. That's like a huge big blow off to like one of the longest termed stories since the Bloodline, really. As you can tell, I'm extremely excited about all the prospects happening with now Finn being kind of free from the Judgment Day, you know what I mean? Because obviously he was someone who was doing his best to prop everybody up within it, and then the character kind of started to reflect that beyond the meta like implications of that, you know, and you know, him addressing that directly, trying to re-challenge for the world title to reinvigorate his presence, and basically does. We're at a point now, I think, where Dom and Finn can have a proper feud against each other, especially when Dom has now had the time to build up and size up other opponents, win titles, and, you know, has had career formative moments now. It's a lot more potent to do now than I think probably last year's Mania, which a lot of us, like me included, wanted to happen. Here now is the perfect time because Dom is kind of now entering that stride. He's not necessarily in his prime yet. He's still a couple years off from that, which is fucking terrifying. Finn being kind of at the apex of his career, and I think especially with the reignition of his popularity due to that past feud with Punk, you know, I think it's just the perfect time, it seems, right now to capitalize, strike while the iron's hot, strike while people care about Finn Balor, strike while people care about Dom, Liv, and the relationship that's happening between that. Liv is also the Royal Rumble winner, so you have more of a renowned focus on the Judgment Day. You're gonna have the betrayal about Finn and JD. You're gonna have Dom and Finn maybe going at it in a little bit of promo battles, but I think you're gonna see a lot more of like finally face Finn being able to do a lot more face stuff and kind of the cooler things he used to kind of run with back in the day of Prince. I mean, like you saw him running the Pele kicks and everything again. I mean, like wrestling as a face, I think for Finn is a lot more enjoyable than as a heel. People would love to just cheer him at the end of the day. You know, I think a lot of the problem with what happened with Finn is that all the things that they were doing in the Judgment Day kind of nullified his presence, if that made sense. Like, I think the masks and stuff were cool, but like the way, you know, his position kind of became more of a tag team wrestler, the way his theme music kind of literally on purpose teased what the old catch your breath stuff and kind of muted it and made it more kind of more menacing, and it did in a way make it more generic, but I don't think that was the intention. It was just more of like to cut off that crowd participation. At the end of the day, just like how they brought it back, people have always enjoyed Finn Balor. He's one of those people that, like, it's kind of hard to boo unless he actually has a justifiable action that gets you to boo him, which was initially how it was in the initial Judgment Day, him, you know, kicking out Edge and essentially initiating a lot of the betrayals that did happen, which earned him those boos. But now at this point, you know, besides basically being attached to Dom, people don't really have a reason to boo Finn Balor, so it seems like the perfect time to kind of split them apart. So I just think that everything done here was extremely masterful, and they did an excellent job. Moving forward too, it's going to be interesting to see if I think also Liv and Finn directly have more promo battles, because I think there's actually an interesting kind of dynamic there about who was the true leader of the, almost said Bullet Club, of the Judgment Day at the time. And I think that those two can kind of, by proxy of Dom being there, you know, have a lot of interesting things to say over the coming weeks going into Mania. We'll kind of see what else kind of goes on with that. I just wanted to cover that real quick because I think that's super awesome. It's kind of my favorite thing that came out of Raw last Monday night. You know, so let me know what you guys kind of think about the Judgment Day breaking up, what the future kind of holds for them, what the Dom and Finn feud might contain. Will it be for a title? Will there be gimmick matches? Will we see, you know, what will we see, you know? So let me know.